Story 1. If I were up watching a funny show or movie while my ex was asleep, anytime I would laugh or even chuckle in the slightest, she would giggle and laugh along with it, but remain perfectly asleep, snoring and all. Story 2. One woman sat bolt upright in bed one morning and half shouted, "Where's pudding?" I tried to avoid disappointing women in bed, but I really did not have any pudding. Story 3. My wife will wake up thinking someone is in the room or at the foot of her bed. It will take her about 2 to 3 minutes to snap out of it. These episodes happen about 4 to 5 times a year. I think it's just a recurring dream that causes her to wake up before she's fully awake. Story 4. I had a friend who had to break up with his girlfriend because she would sleep only in the starfish position, on top of him every single night. She would get incredibly angry when he tried to tell her that it was not okay, and his entire body would be asleep and tingly upon waking up. Story 5. My wife can and does fall asleep at will. Within seconds, she can be asleep. It's like on-demand sleep or something crazy like that. She's a sound sleeper, too. I like to watch television in bed, and she swears it doesn't keep her up. She also wakes herself up. I'll be relaxing in bed or whatever, and she just starts to get up. "What are you doing?" I'll ask. "The baby's waking up." Then I look over at the baby monitor and there's the baby, sleeping peacefully as babies do. No green light for any noise or anything. Then, without fail, the baby wakes up. Story 6. My significant other grinds her teeth. I'm talking about her jaw moving left and right an inch in each direction. If I am awake, I usually just nudge her a little, and she'll stop. I've been trying to convince her to get a mouth guard or something, but I haven't been successful yet. I showed her this post, and we are on our way to Walmart to get one right now. Thank you all for the help. Story 7. My wife waves her arms in the air a little, but not in a haphazard way. It's more of an elegant, flowing kind of motion, almost like she's conducting an orchestra in slow motion. She'll stroke her arms with her fingertips while she does it. It was actually a little creepy the first few times I saw it. I also saw my daughter do this while sleeping in her crib once or twice. Less creepy, more cute with little toddler arms. This is way more common than I thought. Story 8. Had an ex who needed to sleep at least 10 hours a day to be functional. She is a light sleeper, but luckily, she falls asleep easily. However, every time she wakes up, she would look shocked and surprised as if I were a stranger in bed with her and would sulk away for a few seconds before she could remember who I am. Story 9. My girlfriend often gets sleep drunk, so she'll wake up and start having a full-blown conversation with me about things that make no sense at all, and then she'd just completely forget in the morning. For example, "Did you forget to walk the hedgehog?" "What hedgehog?" "Walk it." Story 10. My girlfriend tends to fall asleep all over the house. She will go do something and will not come back, and when I investigate, I find her asleep somewhere. That might sound pretty normal, but the best part is that when I try to wake her up to go to bed, she will make up a random excuse for why she cannot go. The best one so far was when we were watching a friend's house while they were on vacation. I try to wake her up, and she goes, No, I can't. Benny, the dog, is doing math." I really need to start writing all the things she says down because they are hilarious, and she never remembers any of it. After reviewing the comments, I feel like I should correct my original post. The only time this occurs is at night after a very long day. Usually, she falls asleep while snuggling one of the animals at either of our houses. She does not display any other symptoms of narcolepsy, but I appreciate the concern and should have worded my post better. Story 11. I usually let the girl sleep first because I snore, and it would bother me if I kept her up. I met a girl who insisted I sleep first but gave no reason, no matter how much I questioned her. I hid my wallet above the bathroom cabinet because she was too short to reach it, just in case. I woke up with more clothes on. She somehow got a kick out of dressing me while I slept. Story 12. My girlfriend has full-blown debates with me in her sleep. She'll insist she has an exam tomorrow and that she's going to fail, and she's really stressed out, and her subconscious will not be convinced that she graduated in 2010. Today, I learned that college can traumatize people on a deep level. You all need counseling. Story 13. Once slept with a girl who would put Saved by the Bell DVDs on and fall asleep to them, but with the volume loud as hell. Well, once the DVD is sent back to the main menu, the theme starts playing, and if you let it keep running, it'll play every 15 minutes or so. Had to put a stop to that real fast. Story 14. My ex, a petite thing half my size, used to release a massive fart whenever she fell asleep. It might seem disgusting, but it was the green light for me to roll over and sleep more comfortably. Edit. I didn't tell her she did that until we had been dating for 2 years. She didn't believe me, so obviously my post here must be a lie. Story 15. An ex of mine would bring her parrot on a perch and place it on the nightstand. This was weird but fine until one night she waved her arm in the middle of the night, hitting the bird off the perch. I awoke to a screeching parrot blindly flying in the room and crashing into the wall. There was also a time with the same ex and parrot when we were being intimate, and some pretty aggressive noises were being made. On the verge of climax, the parrot finally had enough and flew to attack my back, clawing and biting me a few times. I still managed to finish. Story 16. I used to work nights, so my missus got used to the assortment of animals that call my house home sleeping with her. 6 dogs, 3 ferrets, and a house duck all think my side of the bed is theirs. Story 17. Maybe not directly related to sleep, but an ex-partner of mine used to eat in my bed. Chips, cookies, anything crumbly was just all over every time I got in. It isn't fun cleaning Fritos out of your backside. Story 18. My wife talks about dreams sometimes. Once, she sat straight up, said, "They are coming," in a flat voice, and lay right back down. I did not get back to sleep. Story 19. My 35-year-old ex couldn't sleep unless she had a blanket, her word, not mine, covering her nose. It had to be the same type and yarn that her grandmother made for her as a baby. I believe her sister learned knitting or crocheting. I have no idea of the difference, just to make her a new one every year. My 43-year-old wife can't sleep unless there is a noise machine on, an oscillating fan on, and absolutely no light. I have blackout shades and blackout curtains up. There is electrical tape over every LED in the room, including the one for notifications on each of our phones, because even if you turn off LED notifications in settings, it still turns on for certain events. The slightest sneeze or cough will wake her up, and it will take an hour for her to fall back asleep. I used to read to fall asleep, but my Kindle at the lowest light setting will wake her or prevent her from falling asleep. If I'm sick or there's even an off chance I'm going to snore, I just sleep in the guest bedroom. Story 20. My girlfriend convulses violently as she's falling asleep, pretty much without fail every night for about 5 minutes as she's drifting off. I know we all do slightly, for example, the dream where you fall and wake yourself up with a jerk, but this is off the charts. Not sure what causes it. Does anyone know? Story 21. This is my time to shine. This girl I used to date believed in magic and had to cast a protective spell over her bedroom before we went to sleep. She warned me that dating her was dangerous because she was so spiritually advanced that demons on the other side of the cosmic veil targeted her specifically, and that meant targeting those near her. Nope, I got out of that one real quick. Story 22. My girlfriend still sleeps with a stuffed animal every night. Edit regarding, that's not weird. It's more that I didn't expect it. I didn't know until our 5th date when she spent the night at my place for the first time. She told me, "So, I have to tell you something weird," and it was about her toy Froggy. It's a Build-A-Bear frog that her younger sister, who is 15 years younger than my girlfriend, got for her years ago. It has become a fixture and has been present for every single night we've spent together, including when we travel. I've gone from thinking it's odd to embracing it. I bought myself a stuffed bear about a year ago, and now they sit in our respective sleeping positions on the bed every day. Story 23. My girl literally has to sleep in a pillow fort. She has a pillow on both sides of her. Otherwise, she can't sleep. It makes our king bed into a twin. Still love her, though. Story 24. I once had a girlfriend that slept in the fetal position, but not on her side. Imagine sleeping on your stomach, but with your knees tucked up to your chest. She would have her head positioned in line with her body, but with a downward angle so the top of her head was on the pillow and her chin was sort of between her knees. Story 25. Girlfriend has to recap her day before going to bed. Not in her head, but out loud. Sitting in bed, trying to sleep, she goes through her day from top to bottom verbally. I'm not sure if she has just been teasing me for 4 years, but I can't wrap my head around it. I love her to death, but why she can't do it in her head escapes me. Story 26. Dated a girl with an exceptional memory, certified by doctors as one of the best. I think it was considered hyperthymistic, but she also had a disorder that made her able to remember a lot of her dreams, and like everything else, she would remember every single detail. She would wake me up in the middle of the night after having crazy dreams about things like flying on dragons and want to recount the entire dream in painstaking detail, sometimes for hours. Don't get me wrong, some of the stories were pretty fantastical, but they could definitely have waited until morning. On a side note, dating a girl who can recite previous conversations verbatim means you very rarely win an argument. We do not keep in touch, but I ran into her mother about a year ago, and she said that she became a fairly well-known fantasy writer under a pen name, which makes a lot of sense. Story 27. My girlfriend cracks her knuckles in her sleep. She often sleeps on her back, left leg bent with her foot resting on the mattress, with her right leg crossed like she's sitting in a chair. She also hums the catchy bit of whatever song is stuck in her head. She's a strange woman, but I sure do love her. Edit. Apparently, this is a lot more common than either of us would have ever thought. She's pretty excited that she's not the only one, and that there are a lot of you out there. Story 28. An ex of mine loved it when the room was extremely hot and she insisted on having the blanket over her. She also needed absolute silence. I hate both of those things. I love it when it's cold with white noise in the background. We somehow slept fine together, but I remember waking up with her on top of me, sweating bullets. I had to peel her off of me. She was cool though. Edit. I didn't expect to get so many upvotes. I don't think she browses Reddit, so I'm safe. Story 29. My ex, the first night I ever saw her sleep, her body twitched like a convulsion. I woke her up, thought she was having some seizure or dying or whatever. No, it just happens to her. Took me a long time to get used to that. Edit. It wasn't like a constant twitching. She'd do it once and that was the sign of actual sleep. I could never sleep with her cuddling me until she did that twitch. Also talked in her sleep, which was interesting. Story 30. Had a girl fart so loud in her sleep that she woke herself up. Thought someone was breaking in for a little while. Then the smell came to her, and she looked at me in disgust. Story 31. It may not be strange to some, but my wife falls asleep almost instantly when her head hits the pillow. I toss and turn, take melatonin, and it still takes me 30 minutes to an hour to doze off. Not her. She can hop in bed and mid-sentence be knocked out. Technically, she is a girl that I've hooked up with. Story 32. I had an ex who would always sleepwalk to the front door. When she got there, she would just stare at it like she forgot how to open it, always looking down at her feet and swaying side to side like she was rocking herself back to sleep. She also only slept with underwear on. I worked nights, and the first time I found this out, I opened the door at 3 a.m. with her swaying in the hallway, her hair over her face and half naked. I almost wet my pants that night. Still freaks me out when I think about it. Story 33. Farting in the morning, lots of farts. Not the normal amount of farts. It was as if a million farts were stored in the fart reserves overnight, and they all demanded to exit within 15 minutes of waking up. Surprised she didn't fly around the room like a runaway balloon. Story 34. I'll answer for my husband because he's busy with Red Dead Redemption 2 currently. I sleep with our cat in my arms every night. Our cat is a 17-pound tabby tomcat and a clingy companion who needs constant affection. Sleeping with him in my arms started as a way to keep him off our legs and feet, but it's been 12 years now. He's like a furry, purring teddy bear. I take the cat and the kids to the cottage for the summer, and my husband stays home during the week to work. He says he has a hard time falling asleep without the super loud purring next to his ear. He might miss me too. Let's assume he does. Story 35. Sometimes in my sleep, my wife boops me on the nose and says, "You're so funny." Freaks me out when I'm supposed to be the only one awake at 2 in the morning watching a show and all of a sudden there is a finger on my nose. Story 36. One of my exes used to sleep on her stomach, covers off, completely naked with her legs pulled up to her stomach and her rear in the air. I swear you could have parked a bike. I have no idea how she didn't get cramp. Story 37. I used to date a girl who took some sort of medication for her mental health. I don't know what it was, but one of the adverse side effects was night sweats. Like, full-blown drenchers from the deepest recesses of her body. It smelled so awful and would completely soak both sides of the bed. It was really gross. Story 38. My wife and I live in a nightmare. My wife sleeps lightly and has to use a certain pillow. The pillow is a special feather pillow she needs to cradle her head so it doesn't move. She then needs a small hand pillow to lay her right hand on, but for some reason her other hand doesn't need a hand pillow. She then has to wear a specific type of sports bra. On top of that, the sheets have to be perfectly wrapped around her so they don't touch each other. The comforter has to be a certain weight. If it's too light, she hates it, and if it's too heavy, she hates it. So she uses a comforter she spent hours testing and choosing. We have probably tried every kind on the market. I almost forgot. This has to be feathers also. She then needs another pillow to elevate her legs slightly and have the comforter tucked under them. Then she wears earplugs. There has to be zero light. The light on the TV showing it's off gets taped. The alarm clock was thrown away because it had too much light. We don't share covers, we don't cuddle, nothing. If I move in the slightest, she screams at me, yet she snores and moves. I started sleeping in another room because at night she is so unmanageable. I have a beautiful family and wife, but at night she turns into a demon, and I want to smother her with a pillow.